Hello, what's going on, PC fam? Welcome to another episode of Chill with Chill. We are here this beautiful Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. I'm not sure, depending on where you are, because you know we are international. Chill Town, what's the word?
Yo, Ox, it's All-Star weekend, but it kind of feels weird, man, because basketball is all around, man, and we haven't had any basketball for the last couple of days, so I feel like I'm going through withdrawal right now. Like, what's going on, man? I kind of want to get back to it, even though we did have a little bit of we had a little bit of festivities, but I kind of miss what's going on. I feel like, yo, man, we gotta get back to work. What's going on, fellas?
Right. Because I was with my uncle yesterday. We chilling. He like, oh, it's got to be some games on. I'm like, nah, it's All-Star. Oh yeah, I forgot. So it wasn't none of that, but it's still cool that the what was it called, the Rising Star Celebrity Game, stuff like that. It was still pretty cool. Before we get into that, Chill Town, it's been a little while. I mean, as far as I know, that we've had some viral clips on the TikTok going. From PC. I know that you with your TikTok that you go. But the clip was the other week, a couple of days ago on Player's Choice on the panel. We were talking about Wilt, and there's the clip about you telling about him dunking, and people are going crazy about that, Chill Town. I had people sending me messages like, "Oh, there's no way it didn't happen." They're like, "Oh, so I guess Wilt walked on water too, and all this and that." Is there anything you want to say to the people about this situation, Chill Town?
One of my other co-hosts, Tone, like I told you, the stuff that of Wilt is of stuff of legends, man. It's hard to believe when you hear it at first, but then when you see this dude and you see the stuff that he's doing, is it really that ridiculous? Like him killing a mountain lion with his bare hands. Now, me and you had this conversation, Big Ox. A mountain lion, you don't want nothing to do with him. Right. But to Wilt, who's 7'1", 275, he might be looking at a mountain lion like that's a house cat. He ain't really looking at a mountain lion like, yo, man, I don't know if I can take this dude. I really might want to get out of here. But this is one of the main reasons why I have Wilt Chamberlain in my top 5, because everything that he did. Now, don't get me wrong, Ox. There's some things that I think are ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. There's some things that I'm like, I don't know about that. Like the number 20,000. I'm like, no, I don't know about that. Yeah. That might be putting a little bit extra on it. That might be wild. But the stuff on the basketball court, that's still to this day, Big Ox, you are aware that Wilt retired 50 years ago. And in the 50 years since he's been retired, only one dude averaged more points per game in NBA history to this day. That's Jordan. That's it. He's still second all time in league history in points per game. He's still the all-time leading rebounder in NBA history. He retired 50 years ago. That hasn't happened since he did that, right? He's the only 5-man to lead the league in assists. No 5-man has done that before he did it, since he did it. And again, I got to make sure that I preference this. Wilt retired 50 years ago. Everything that Wilt has done has been like folklore. Yeah. When I actually heard the story, when I actually did some homework on Wilt and heard the story of why you got to stand behind the free throw line, I was just like you, Ox. I was like, man, get the hell out of here. That ain't true. But then I went and did some homework. I was like, well, damn.
My thing, Chuck Town, is that I didn't think it wasn't true. Right. It just sounds crazy to hear, and then when we're on the show with Ryan and Damo with the facial expressions, it's hard. It's hard to keep you cool. But
right.
I don't think, except for the one thing like you just said, the 20,000 thing, that's a little absurd. But if it happened, it happened. My thing is, I don't think that a lot of people understand what 7'2", 280 looks like. I don't think people really understand how big and how different that is. Like the stuff that we do, stuff like the stuff that he can do, we can't fathom. Like it's crazy to be that strong. Most of us will never be that strong. I would never know what it's like to bench press that much. Like just simple stuff like that to him. stuff that was simple to him to us is just incredible. We can't fathom it. So
Arnold
that's why I
Schwarzenegger.
don't. Mhm.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is in the gym. He says that Wilt comes in the gym and he gets underneath the bench press and he just throws it up. And while he's throwing it up, he's asking Arnold, "Yo, how much is this?" It was 500 pounds. And he was just throwing it up like it was nothing. He was like, "Yo, what is this?" It was 500 pounds. He's just bench pressing it like it's nothing. So if I heard this, it's a lot less difficult to believe. It's a lot harder to believe something from somebody when it's coming from them. So like if I'm telling you, Big Ox, man, I ran 100 yards in 8 seconds.
Yeah,
You like, hey, chill, stop playing. Right. As opposed to if you heard it from like 3 or 4 different people who was there, like, yo, Chill ran 100 yards in 9.2 seconds. Wait a minute, I clocked him at 9.3. You're like, wait a minute. Well, it's obvious that somebody was there and they saw it, and it just the stories get crazier and crazier when they're around other people. It's more believable. I've always thought that it's more believable when it's coming from other people who actually experienced it, even though they might embellish a little bit. I always thought that it was more believable when it came from other people because they were there and they were so amazed by it. And like you just said, Big Ox, like 7'1", 275 pounds. That is a massive human. That is a massive human. That's ridiculous in terms of size. Big Ox, you've seen me before. I got to stand on a chair to talk to Shaq.
Right.
And that's how big Wilt was.
It's crazy because when I met Shaq in at the AAU tournament back a while back, I was 17, but I was 17. I was already 6'8", 6'7". You know, I was already, but I shook his hand and he just wraps my whole everything. Just he's shaking my hand up here, and I'm like, this is crazy. Somebody, how do you get this big? You know, but it's amazing. But Chitchat, speaking of legends, Chauncey and Vince, they're up for the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
How we feel about this, dude? Are they gonna make it? What do you think? Is it about time or?
A lot of people have a tendency to forget how little the amount of guys that played in the NBA are in the Hall of Fame. You know, over 4,500 players have played in the NBA, and 178 of them are in the Hall of Fame. Big Ox, that means you are in the 96th percentile. You line up 100 dudes, only 4 of us are going in. That's it. 4. In the 77-year history of the NBA, it's not like every year everybody gets in. And this is just the NBA. And by the way, this is the Basketball Hall of Fame. This isn't the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. But if I'm in the 96th percentile, I mean, damn, that's pretty impressive, man, to have that little of guys that are in the Hall of Fame. So a guy like Chauncey Billups, who has been an All-Pro, who was a Finals MVP, who was one of the best point guards, who had bounced around, which a lot of people forget this because I know you're a ticket guy. You know, Big Ticket is your man. You love Big Ticket, which I dig him too. Chauncey Billups said that until he got to Minnesota, he never really felt like he could ball. Once he got with Big Ticket, Kevin Garnett, he felt like, okay, now somebody's going to actually let me do my thing. And he was able to do that. When he got with Flip Saunders, he was actually able to do that. He said that the coach from Toronto won Coach of the Year. He taught him how to be a pro, and he learned from that. Once he got to Detroit, they actually helped build that unit around him, and it was perfect for who he was. Chauncey Billups, you can make the argument during his era with Jason Kidd, Steve Francis, Steve Nash, all those great point guards. He was one of the best, and he had longevity.
I would definitely say so.
Yeah, and he had longevity.
Yeah, and he also, I was reading some like an interview for him, and he also praised Terrell Brandon a lot for helping him when he got to Minnesota as well. I definitely think Chauncey's a Hall of Famer. I don't think there's any question. Personally, in that time of point guards that you named, he was definitely amongst the tops of that group.
Well, think about this, Ox. Think about those years in Detroit, because I think that his best years were those years in Detroit. I feel like those was his best years. And in that span, I think he had a 5-year stretch where he made the all-league defensive team. So he was elite as a defender. He was an MVP candidate. I think he finished in the top 5 in MVP votes. He was an all-pro, made the all-pro team, I think 4 of those 5 years. He was a 17, 18, and 7 guy. And those teams was going deep in the playoffs. Now, you'll have some people say, Ben Wallace was the best player on that team. Ben Wallace was probably the most important player on that team, 100%. I won't argue that. But you're talking about a guy who was a glass cleaner, the best defensive player arguably in the league. 100%. You definitely have that. However, the engine that made that team go was Chauncey Billups. He was definitely the guy. No doubt about that. And when I think about the great point guards of that era, again, Steve Nash, Steve Francis, Jason Kidd, Chauncey Billups, Andre Miller, absolutely. Guys like Andre Miller. And nobody talks about Andre Miller nearly as much. Like the league in assists as a rookie. Nobody really talks about Andre Miller. That's not a lot. Not going and played, 16, 17 years? In his game, he wasn't a ridiculous athlete. I actually played against Andre Miller in college. My senior year at Utah State was his sophomore year at the University of Utah. And you could see it. You could see that he was on his way. Definitely, you could see that he was on his way. But guys like Steve Nash, Steve Francis, Baron Davis, during that stretch of time, Jason Kidd, John Stockton was on his way out, so he was over. But the better point guards during that era, you can't leave Chauncey Billups' name out of there. I mean, when Chris Paul shows up in 2006, Chauncey Billups is still elite at that point. And he's still doing his thing. Guys like Darren Williams, Chris Paul, they were a part of that second wave of guys during the decade. And Chauncey Billups during that time, he still was elite. So hats off to Chauncey Billups. I think he's a Hall of Famer. 100% I do.
What about Vince?
Vince was awesome. And I give kudos to Vince because, in his college career, Vince was first team All-American. North Carolina was in the Final Four. Got his jersey retired at the University of North Carolina. Vince had a stretch in the NBA where he made the All-Star team like six or seven straight years. He left a lot to be desired, though, Big Ox, because on the back side, on the front side, it was like 6, 7, 8 years where, he was definitely an all-star. He was definitely one of the better 2 guards in the game. The only issue that I had with Vince was that he didn't play at a high enough level for long enough for me. I mean, he made the All-Pro team twice in 20 years. That says a lot when I hear guys like that. I mean, Chauncey Billups made the All-Pro team twice or 3 times, but Vince Carter making the All-Pro team on the backside, making the All-Pro team on the front side and on the backside of his career, he wasn't as good. And I'd like to think that he's definitely a Hall of Famer. I won't argue that. He's the only player in NBA history to play in 4 different decades. No other player in NBA history has ever done that. And I don't think I'm going to see that again. He played in the 90s, played in the 2000s, played in the 2010s and the 2020s. No other player in NBA history has ever done that. He put Toronto basketball. Not Toronto basketball. I'll take that back. He put the NBA on the map internationally. He made it what it was in Canada. He made it a big deal. Canada is a hockey country. They don't really care too much about basketball. They tried to do it with the Vancouver Grizzlies, and it went south. Vince comes up there, and he basically lights the country on fire, and there were people who started playing basketball strictly off the strength of Vince Carter. So when you revolutionize the game for a whole country, I think that definitely takes into account how inspirational you are and impactful you are. But that was the only downside, the fact that he only made the All-Pro team twice. But other than that, I think Vince Carter, with his basketball resume, I do think he's a Hall of Famer, 100%.
Definitely. Okay, shout out Vince. Let me see. We got a couple chats. We got one. Grant, who's been a member for 7 months, says, W Big Ox, W Chilltown. Keep up the good work, my guys.
Hey, man, listen to me, man. This show, contrary to, even though it says chill with chill, this dude right here on my left, I'm telling you right now, this thing don't work without him. So it ain't just me. It's this dude over here, too.
I know. Appreciate that. Appreciate you as well, Grant. But we got another one from Christopher D. He says, Christopher D, who's been a member for 11 months, almost all year. Shout out, Chris D. Hey, Chris D, if you need Ghostbusters, call Ghostbusters. It says, there's a consensus on Wilt being a playoff dropper, going from 30 a game to 22, and in the finals going 18 a game. Is fair criticism, or can you contextualize some of those drops in those series?
Well, it's weird, Ox, because Carmelo Anthony, what's the logic on Carmelo Anthony? He's buckets. He's selfish. He doesn't care about winning. Right. Meanwhile, Wilt, who was averaging, he had a 7-year stretch in the playoffs where he was 35 and 20 in the playoffs. That's what he was doing. Wilt decides to change his game and be more of a distributor. All right, he's more of a distributor. He's more of a passer. So in the 66-67 season, when he's now more of a distributor and more of a passer, and they end up winning the NBA championship, he's doing more of the stuff that's conducive to winning. Wilt's a playoff dropper. Meanwhile, a guy in Carmelo Anthony who is just buckets, or a guy like Bernard King who is just buckets, these guys are considered selfish. It sounds really weird when you have guys who do what it takes to win, but they're choke artists. I mean, no 5-man has led the league in assists since he did it. None have ever done that. And then I want you to fast forward to the 71-72 season when they won the NBA championship, the best team in NBA history at that point. No team had won that many games. Wilt averaged almost 20 and 20 in the finals. His scoring dropped because he did the other stuff. Plus, he played with another guy who shot the basketball a lot in Jerry West. Like, you guys talk about a guy being a playoff dropper. I don't know if I've ever said this to you guys, but just so you know, in the 69 finals, in game 7, just so you know, Wilt went 9 for 10 from the floor. He only took 10 shots in that game. Jerry West was averaging, I think, 24 shots a game. Wilt was averaging barely 12 shots a game because he was doing the other stuff, which was conducive to winning. But if I let you tell it, because you're just looking at the numbers, you're telling me Wilt was a choke artist. Wilt was a playoff dropper. No, he just changed his game in order to win. And when he did win, they won in dramatic fashion. Not only did they win in dramatic fashion, the 66, 67, 76ers, the only team in the 60s to beat the Celtics. Nobody else beat them. And that was because Wilt changed his game. He became more of a distributor. He became more of a passer. Always was an elite rebounder, but obviously me scoring all of these points is not going to help us win. I got to get these other guys involved. Same logic in the 71-72 season. I got to rebound more. I got to distribute more. I got to get guys more involved. And when I do that, I mean, they wiped the floor with the Knicks in 5 games. Wiped the floor with the Knicks in 5 games. If Jerry West would have got off the peel a little bit more, I think they beat the Celtics in 69. I do.
Fire. Well, that's the answer. Hope that answers your question, Christopher D. Hilton, did you tap into any of the festivities last night?
I did. Yes, I did.
What'd you watch? Did you watch the celebrity game or just the Rising Star Challenge?
Just the Rising Stars game. I did. Okay. I peeked my head into the celebrity game. I'm kind of a little perturbed that, you know, I didn't get an invite to the celebrity game, but that's another story for another time. Whatever. I'm good. But anyway, I watched the Rising Stars game. Big Ox, you said to me in the past, you know, some of your best friends, you know, before y'all became best friends, you had to knuckle up.
Yeah,
that's
squabble.
Yeah, that's just part of it, because that's where the respect comes in. Well, I'm watching Matherin last night go at it with Ivy and tell him, you know, even in the All-Star game, you can't cover me. That's great competition right there.
Definitely.
Let me tell you something, young fella. I'll bust your ass anywhere, whether it's an All-Star game, whether it's in Detroit on a Tuesday night, I'll bust your ass anywhere. I'm thinking to myself, yes,
this is what the game needs. I was wrong. 100%. I was wrong. Everybody watching, I was wrong. Except for the one, the first, the deadlift versus Pau Gasol team game, they were kind of at the beginning, but they picked it up and they started playing. Other than that little segment right there, those young boys were playing ball last night.
Yes, they were.
They were playing ball last night.
They were not playing. Nope, they were not playing around. They was dead serious. And the fact that Matherin took it as serious as he took it. Yeah. He took it as serious as he took it. And to be honest with you, Big Ox, I can't say to you that I'm not a fan of that kind of banter. And the reason why I'm a fan, I'm a fan of that is because it brings out the best in you. Hey, Ox, I'll bust your ass. You think just because it's an all-star game, I'm gonna take it easy on you? No. Right. And I want to hear that from you too, because that's the spirit of competition. Why are you afraid of being shown up? Is it because you're not comfortable in who you are in terms of your game? You think that if you get served, then that's gonna be it? No, you come back tomorrow. I'll see you again. Because don't think for 1 second if you get the best of me that it's over. No, I'm gonna see you again. Oh, I'm 100% gonna see you again. Yes, I will.
And Benedict is like that though.
Yes, he is.
I wasn't aware of Benedict all the way until the Pac-12 tournament, right before he got drafted. Like I didn't watch him during the season, but when the Pac-12 tournament came out, I started kind of paying attention. And he's a gamer. He's a gamer. He's gonna step up when it's time, and he'll shoot tough shots. He's not afraid of the spotlight. So that was dope. That was really dope. I enjoyed that. Besides that, though, how did you feel? Besides Benedict, what else did you see? I don't know. It didn't seem like Wemby was taking it too serious, which is that's fine, whatever. But what else did you see last night?
Those G Leaguers came to play. They did.
Yeah, they did. I was wrong about that too.
And I thought that was the case right from the beginning, Big Ox, because you're always on stage. Always, no matter where you are, you're on stage. And those G Leaguers, McClung, I got to make sure I say his name right. Oscar, I can't get his last name. Ashwibe, that's him. Yeah. Oscar Ashwibe, who, by the way, still baffles me that Big Ox, this is the college player of the year.
Yeah.
All right. College player of the year, led the country went to Kentucky, led the country in, I think, scoring and rebounding. Definitely led the SEC in scoring and rebounding. Yeah. In addition to that, he was the SEC player of the year, but he doesn't get drafted. I'm thinking to myself, I know the game has changed, but I'm 100% confident. When I was coming up, the SEC player of the year, that's Mashburn. That's a top 5 pick in the draft. Yeah. That's not a good player. That's a guy that you build in your crew. That's the guy that you build in your crew around. But these G Leaguers, they were serious. McClung was serious. And is he a sideshow, or is he more of a guy who will just be a guy who never really gets an opportunity because of his height, or because he can't play at that level and he's now becoming a sideshow? Is that the case with him? Because he can play.
Yeah, I think so. I think Mac, he got game, but I don't think he's at that level. So I don't think he'll really get a real chance, a real shot in the league. Right. But he's definitely got game. I mean, even when he was at Georgetown in college, well, I believe he was also went to Texas Tech, I think too. He's just I don't think he's NBA level, but he's definitely got game, and he's definitely a freak athlete. So I mean, we're gonna hear about him for a little while. I
think so. And I know the dunk contest is tonight, and with the dunk contest being tonight, he's the defending champ. Which, Big Ox, I know he's from the G League, but in the end, he's still a defending champ. So right. I gotta respect that. Do I put him in the same category with Jordan and Vince Carter and Aaron Gordon and guys like that? No, I don't. But he's still the defending champ.
I understand that you don't put him in that category right now.
It doesn't lessen it though, Big.
But let's say tonight, if tonight he does something outrageous and wins another one, as far as just dunkers and dunk champs and dunk contest participants, could you put Mac McClung in that elite category with the guys you just named? Or is it no, just because he doesn't play in the NBA technically?
Well, the dunk contest is the best dunkers in the league, right? And he didn't play in the league that long. So would I put him in terms of a dunker though? Like, I can't put him in the same category with Vince or Jordan. I would put. I'm thinking about guys like Nate Robinson. That's what I'm thinking about when I think about him. Those are the type of guys that I would put him in that category in the next tier. I wouldn't put him in, the Dr. Duncanstein. No, I wouldn't put him in the Dr. J. No, I wouldn't put him in that category. No, I don't think he was that electrifying as a dunker. No.
Right. So who are you putting your money on Mac tonight, or?
I got to go with the defending champ, because if you look at, Jaylen Brown Jaylen Brown is an in-game dunker. I don't really know that there's much creativity. I don't really know if he's got that much creativity, right? I'm not saying that, he can't give me a off the bounce, between the legs, behind his head dunk. No, I'm not saying that. But I think Jaylen Brown is more of an in-game dunk it over the top of you type of dude. And I think that's more of what he is. So I think it's good that he got in it, though, because when I think about the All-Star, I mean, when's the last time an All-Star's been in a dunk contest? I think when Blake Griffin got in it, he wasn't an All-Star at that point. When Paul George was in it, was Paul George? I'm not sure Paul George was an All-Star at that point. I think John Wall might have been an All-Star at that point, but I'm not sure. I don't think he was. But for the most part, we haven't really seen top 15, top 20 players get in the dunk contest. So I think it's good for the league that he's doing it. But the favorite is the champ. I got to go with the champ.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what Toppin, what he's gonna do with top of dunks he has. It's always a little different with the bigger guys when the guys that are 6'8", 6'9", 6'10",
Yeah.
those guys are. It's always a little different with them. I don't think they get judged fairly, honestly. But
why is that, Big Ox? Why is Larry Nance when he in the dunk contest or Dwight Howard when he in the dunk contest? Why are we looking at those guys differently than we look at the other guys? Is it because they're just bigger?
Yeah, I think
so. Is it really that simple?
Yes, it's got to be. I'm not sure. Like for instance, Dwight and Aaron Gordon have had some of the most impressive dunks, but Blake Griffin as well. But I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. The judges, they have their own criteria, I guess. Right. They don't share with us what their criteria is. They just judge based on how they feel at the time. So.
And Aaron Gordon ain't a small dude, Big Ox. Aaron Gordon is what, 6'9", 6'8", 6'9"? He ain't a small dude.
Well, I believe Aaron Gordon's 6'10".
Yeah, and the stuff that he does is nuts. The stuff that he does is fantastic, man. And I understand why he didn't get in the dunk contest again, because he got robbed. He feels like he got robbed against Derrick Jones Jr., even though Derrick Jones Jr. was pretty impressive. But
right.
I was always wondering that though. Like what's the mystique or what's the problem with big guys? Why aren't they judged fairly in the dunk contest?
Yeah. I don't know. What do we know? Yeah, we do know. We got the list. Who's all in the 3-point contest? Who do you got in the 3-point contest?
Who is in the 3-point contest, Big Ox? Since we got that list, let's get that list out. Who is in the 3-point contest?
I'm pulling it up right now.
I'm looking at who is in the 3-point contest.
Who won last year? Did Cat win last year?
I think Cat is in it this year. So the guys in the 3-point contest: Beasley, Brunson, Halliburton, Dame. I think Dame won it last year.
Dame did win it last year. He did.
Yeah, I think Dame won it last year. It was in Salt Lake last year, right? Yeah, Dame won it.
Yep. I remember that. That's right, because I was at the airport the day after, and the Weber State team was walking through. And I actually talked to the coach when we were doing the Wednesday Sunday show, and he came on. He jumped on with us and was talking about Dame and whatnot. So I do remember that Dame did win it. Yeah, but this year Dame can repeat or?
No, I'm gonna go with the big fella, Cat. I think Cat wins it this year, and I think Cat solidifies himself as a legit 3-point shooter. I think Beasley's gonna be good. I think Jalen Brunson. I think he's going to be okay. Tyrese Halliburton can make some noise, but I think the finalists are going to be Cat. I'm going to go with big guys. Cat and Markkanen. That's who I'm going to go with.
Okay. Cat and Markkanen. Okay.
I think it's going to be big guys. Cat and Markkanen. No doubt about that. I'm looking forward more than anything to the skills competition, as you know.
Yeah.
As you know. So, but yeah, I'm thinking about Markkanen and Cat as the two best long ball shooters in this contest.
Markkanen and Cat. Okay. That's cool. Let me see who we got. Okay, we got somebody in the back who's Leaf Diggy.
What up?
What up, Leaf?
What up? All right, what's going on?
What up?
Chitchat had me rolling yesterday. Well, to answer your question, yeah, I do love her more and more every day, actually. But the 14th of February
Hold on,
is a money grab.
Big Ox, we was talking yesterday about Valentine's Day, and Leaf here, he was talking about, he got his lady something nice for Valentine's Day.
She got me something too.
She got him something nice for Valentine's Day, and I'm thinking to myself, Big Ox, do you love your lady any more on February the 13th or February the 15th? Do you care about her anymore those days?
It's a scam. It's a racket.
I told you, I think we getting robbed. I think we got jerked. I think we got jerked. No,
it's a money grab, but so is the strip club, Bob. So I mean,
I think we got robbed.
Nah. But I'm getting a love a little more and more every day. But in the case of the dunk contest, real quick, Aaron Gordon to Zach LaVine is basically the same as Bobby to Shaq or Bobby to LeBron, but like this because they're better dunkers. But obviously, man, I respect what Aaron Gordon has done. And no disrespect to Bobby, but I respect what Aaron Gordon has done, man. As a dunker, I've been watching him since high school. But what Zach LaVine did in that dunk contest, 3 straight dunks from the free throw line, they were all different. A windmill through the legs and something else.
He should have won it the next year, though. The next year, he should have won it.
Oh, yeah,
he
should
have won it that year.
And I like Derrick Jones, man, but I mean, Aaron Gordon, I think, has absolutely been incredible. But what's crazy is we've been calling him Blake Jr. since high school. Like that's crazy. That was the craziest thing. But me and Chilltown, Bobby, yesterday, me and Chilltown was talking about the second half of the season. You know how he feels about the Timberwolves and the Cavs. What's your thoughts on this Cavs run so far, man? Bobby, what you thinking about it? I wanted to know what you think about the Cavs thus far because they've been racking off a lot of games. I ran off their schedule in that time frame, but they've been racking off some wins left and right. They last time they lost 3 straight was back in December, 11th to 12th and the 14th. So what was your thoughts on that, Bobby?
You still here, Big Ox? Yeah,
my bad. Got to get a new cord for this mic, man. It's cords. You got to go through a cord.
I got this right here.
Yeah, but how do I feel about the Cavs run? You said, Leaf?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not shocked. I had the Cavs. Probably. I think I had them a top 5, top 6 seed in the East this year.
Top 4,
yeah, I had them. I like the Cavs.
You have who though?
No, I didn't have them too. But that's. I mean, that don't too much matter to me. I need to see if they can close the deal. After I was so high on them last year, and in the way that they went out to New York was very disappointing to me. So I just need to see it. I need to see it this year. I need to see them. They got in the playoffs last year. Now I need to see them get to the second round this year. You know what I'm saying? I need them to improve. That's all. I'm impressed with the Cavaliers though. I like them as a team. I think they got good players all around.
I think my contingency on the Cavs is simply this. It's that when they got walked down last year, it wasn't just the front line. It was Darius Garland that didn't provide enough for Neva, and then was they bench. Remember, we talked to y'all had a conversation about them when they gave up when Rubio had went down and he was going, and then Kevin Love had got given up. That was a part of their bench. When they had them, they were starting to gain traction. They were their vets, and as bench players, they were providing. And now we move on to the Karis LeVert. I think they moved the Coro or Strus to the bench or somebody or Strus start. I don't remember they starting lineup exactly at the 3, but I'm just thinking to myself, there's a reason why I like Minnesota a little bit more than I like Cleveland, because their
starting lineup is Garland at the 1, Donovan at the 2, Strus at the 3, Mobley at the 4. Allen at the 5.
I got into the reason why I like Minnesota a whole lot more than Cleveland, and it's because those guys over there, like they not as the only youth they really got on their team is Jaden McDaniels and Ant. So everybody else knows what playoff basketball is about, or has an idea what playoff basketball is about. Chilltown always reminds me that Cat is basically turns into a fillet fish.
Pumpkin. A pumpkin at midnight. That's what he does.
Yeah. He turns into fillet fish at him. But I like their bench. We all like Nas Reed, Slow Mo, the guys on it, McLaughlin, a couple of guys off their bench.
They got everything necessary in order to win it. They do. They have everything necessary in order to win it. Cleveland did not. Cleveland, yes, they have everything necessary to win it. If you think about what they have, like everything that you just said. Think about what you just said. They don't have a young team. What do they have? They have vets. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And in addition to them having vets, do they have elite perimeter defenders? Yes or no? Do they have elite perimeter wings?
Yes, they do.
Do they have elite perimeter scoring? Anthony Edwards is an elite perimeter scorer. Yes, they do. Do they also have? Do they also have elite? Do they also have an elite big? They got two of them. They don't have one of them. They got two of them. So with that being said, everything necessary to win it, they have that. The $1 million question is can you put this whole thing together? Because we've seen what happened with Cat when the playoffs start. We've seen what happened when he starts. The problem is on the other half of that. I've watched them play against Memphis and build double-digit leads and have Memphis walk them down. Cleveland did not get walked down by the Knicks. They got smoked. They did not get walked down. They just got straight smoke. The point I'm making is that on paper and the way that they play, they have everything necessary to win it. Everything. The question is can they put it together and actually do it?
You know what's crazy about what you just said is that you talked about everything that they got, and we talked yesterday about Cleveland possibly beating Miami in the first round, and I talked about how good of a second half of the season team Miami can be. Over the years, they've shown and proved that time and time again. So the thing is, Miami getting traction and towards the end of the season, as you call the dog years, the dog days of the NBA season, I think is more important than a team like Cleveland going off now, going off in the past like month and a half or whatever since before Christmas. I personally believe that the teams that know better, like Miami, we talked about Golden State yesterday, about how they got an easy ass schedule. We didn't talk about the Lakers. We didn't talk about a couple other teams. But my thing is that I strongly believe going into the playoffs, it's all like mostly it's up here. And we talked about it, man. Like it's not about just punking you. It's just about outsmarting you. My coach outsmarting your coach. My play calling outsmarting your play calling. My guys knowing that we can take your guys. Or my team. We talked about Jimmy looking at all of them dudes on the Boston Celtics, like, yo, bro, we know what time it is when we see.
Right, and even if that's true, right? Even if that's true, if you look at Miami's history, they go to the finals in 21. I mean, they go to the finals in 20. The next year, they get swept out the playoffs. The next year, they lose in Game 7 in the East Finals. The next year, they're in the NBA Finals. So what's going on with Miami in terms of turmoil and in terms of everything that they have to deal with, I think this could very well be one of those kind of years for Miami. I have a difficult time seeing with everything that they're dealing with. That they could do it again, trading for Terry Rozier and him trying to be an integral part of what they're trying to do. Now getting Tyler Hero back in the lineup, Buckets being out of the lineup as much as he's been out of the lineup, and to get him back for these last 28 games, for his mind to be right. The whole Miami crew, I think that this could be one of those other years for them. I'm not really that high on Miami like I was last year or like I was the year before that, even though they had one of the worst offenses last year. This year, I think it's a little bit different when you think about who's been out of the lineup. Like no more Kyle Lowry. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. Tyler Hero being in and out of the lineup and being inconsistent. Terry Rozier, them trying to figure him out. So I'm not all in on Miami. That doesn't mean that Miami can't turn it on. I just don't think that they will.
I got one more question for y'all before I go. In terms of the team that's like in the play-in or like flirting with the play-in in the playoffs, which one of them teams? What is the team that you think that could like upset like the playoff bracket? Like,
I can't believe that I'm saying this, Leaf, and you're not gonna like it. The goddamn Lakers. I know you don't want to hear.
You agree with that?
With them damn Lakers.
I have to agree with it, Leaf. I don't got a choice.
Them damn Lakers.
For me, it's Dallas because I talked about them last week. The way they knew acquisitions is coming along, and I understand what you feel. I understand how Bobby feel about Luke and his defense. But the Lakers, to me, I don't think I think they can can do something and then they can make a stride. But I
well, Leaf, you just said it yourself, Leaf. You just said it yourself about teams being up here mentally tougher and being more experienced. What you think the Lakers look? What do you think coming into the playoffs the Lakers are thinking when they see Oklahoma City?
Oh yeah,
how you think they're looking at them?
They're like, oh yeah, these are kids.
We could beat them. We could definitely beat them.
If LeBron loses the kids, his career is over.
I'm just saying.
All say that. Like,
I'm just saying.
But
So
I think if LeBron loses to children that have been watching him, like he's 39 years old. If he loses to kids, his career is over. If the Golden State Warriors lose to kids, the run is over. The run is officially over.
The run been over, Leaf. The run been over in Golden State. Let's cut the nonsense. The run been over in Golden State.
It's a wrap.
Leaf,
it's a wrap.
Come on, Leaf. We just living together. We getting divorced. This marriage is over. We just living together. We just passing each other. That's all we doing. This thing is over, man.
In terms of Golden State and the Lakers, we all talked about it. Somebody that is 19 or in that 19 to 25 range, they got to put them out. We all agree that these dudes are not going nowhere until they decide to leave. Until they get put out by the OKCs and the Sacramentos and all of those young teams. This is one of the reasons why I had a lot of stock in Sacramento last year. I strongly believe they were going to get put out by a new youth. That's what it was.
It wasn't time yet. So, all right, Leaf. Good to talk to you, brother. Absolutely, my man. Good to talk to you. Absolutely. No doubt. Right, I would have liked to have seen that, though, Big Ops, to be honest with you. I would have liked to have seen your boys bounce Golden State and let it be known that, yo, it's a new regime. Mm-hmm. It's time for you dudes to pack it up. It's time for you dudes to go. We've seen enough from you, and it's time to go. But if you're thinking about the teams at the bottom of the play-in, like Orlando, Chicago, and Atlanta, I really don't have any faith in any of those guys against teams at the top of the East. Yeah. And in the West, the Lakers are the only team simply off the Lakers and Sacramento are the only team simply off the strength of what I saw from your boys last year.
Yeah. I don't see any of the playing teams in the East really making too much noise, but in the West, like I don't know who's got it. Everybody's dangerous in the West, so it's going to definitely be interesting. Though I can guarantee that. I can guarantee you, it's going to be some great playoffs. Y'all make sure to watch that. Before we keep going, let me remind y'all to make sure to go to playerschoicemerch.com. Grab your hoodie, grab your beanie, grab something for you, the whole fam. Make sure everybody's decked out in Players Choice gear. Mm-hmm. Also, if you don't know, today is the drop of one of the PC weekend videos. Y'all make sure to go check that out. It's great content. Y'all will love it. Go ahead and make sure as soon as this show is over that you go click on that. I believe it's called the NBA Assassins video. Y'all make sure to go check that out. In the meantime, let me bring my man Cowboy Bob to the stage.
Bizzo, what up?
Salute.
What up?
How you guys doing?
Running good, brother. What's going on?
Hey, just real quick before I get into what I was gonna say, that new dude, he don't know nothing about basketball. He don't.
Chill out on Will, yo.
Yo, he just be babbling, talking about Knicks, saying that Knicks is this, but he don't know nothing. Me and you talk about teams that we know, and I told you how to break down plays, but enough about him. What I really wanted to talk to you about was this whole thing about how everyone has been talking about recency bias. I don't like it. For example, they will never forgive Randall for what happened in the Atlanta series, but they already are looking at Donovan Mitchell, like Leaf just said. Oh, Donovan Mitchell may get over it, but what happened to him in Utah? It's like people pick and choose who they could have recency bias for. For example, KD. KD was getting killed the whole time he was on the Nets. Now he's on the Suns. Everyone's giving him favors. So I don't like that.
Swept out the playoffs. Swept out of the playoffs.
But then everybody's like...
Put some context on it. Okay, we'll put some context on it. Sure, it was a nightmare of a season. Kyrie Irving was in and out of the lineup, and he finally came back. But none of that has anything to do with how he played, though. How KD played, and the fact that he got outplayed in that series. Sure, Donovan Mitchell got outplayed last year. Not just him, but that whole Cavs team got outplayed. Now, Donovan Mitchell has had some performances in the playoffs that give him some leeway. The problem with Julius Randle is Julius Randle has had back-to-back performances in the playoffs where he wasn't good. Against Atlanta, he wasn't good. And then last year, he ended up getting hurt in the playoffs. The process of him getting hurt, that kind of affected his game. I don't see that happening this year. It can't happen this year, but we do have to treat these guys, and I'm also guilty of it. We got to treat these guys all the same when they're awesome and when they're not. We definitely have to do that.
Yeah, like you can't look at it like a lot of people I know, they look at it as, oh, the season by season. No, you got to watch it game by game, minute by minute, because you can see something in a game and be like, yo, this dude got something, but then you won't see it again. But what I really wanted to bring up was about, you and Mars were talking about player A and player B. I spoke to him about it yesterday, but I wanted to do the player comparison with Shai and Luka. Everybody knows stats about the two players, but for me, when you look at how they used Shai last year, off ball, so I thought that they used him more off ball so they could set it up for where they are using him now as on ball. Because now if you see his setups, it's exactly the same type of style as if he was playing last year. It's just he has the ball more in his hand. Yes, they both do control the ball a lot, but if you look at both their games, Shai would make his players around him better, where Luka would be the dominant force. Now, to me, I have never seen a player make his teammates better. Okay, you can say Magic, but to me, really, I haven't seen a superstar that can make a bunch of average kids same age as him better. That's a rarity. So for me, Luka, I see Luka winning the MVP because his format is similar. Look at Jordan. The first 7 years Jordan was playing, he was a ball dominant player and he was dominant. Like players like a Luka, to me, would be more of an MVP than a Shai. So for me, player A is Shai, who does better with his team. He looks better on paper because his team is a higher seed. But player B, Luka, to me, is a better performer because you're always going to get that 1,000%, as opposed to Shai is limited because he only picks up when his teammates don't pick up. You get what I'm saying?
Well, if that's the case, then I could say the same thing about Joker, because Joker those guys play off of him, and Joker isn't much of a scorer until he has to be. Joker is definitely more of a distributor who, when the offense opens up, those guys, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, KCP, those guys start knocking down shots, he gets going because now that opens up his offense. But as far as SGA, him being less than with Luka, I mean, that's largely due to him having a big guy now and him utilizing that big guy. See, the difference with Luka is ball dominant, and I don't think that a lot of your strengths come out when you're playing with Luka. So if you're a shooter, okay, that's what you do. Like, I didn't know that Tim Hardaway Jr. could actually create a shot with 2 or 3 dribbles. I didn't know that. But I'm just seeing him as strictly a long ball shooter. That's because Luka dominates the basketball. In the process of Luka dominating the basketball, he's just looking for him at the long ball line. He'll get Irv involved in the game. Same thing with the new guys, with Lively, and when he had not Royce O'Neal, when he had Finney Smith, guys like that. I don't think that Luka, in terms of an MVP, I do think that I definitely think he's at the top of the list. I just feel like with SGA having that big guy in the middle, that opened up his game even more, because now he could get to the rim because that big guy drags that other big guy away from the rim and it opens up the paint. He also has that other scorer on the wing who can also play off of him, and he will get off the basketball. Plus, with that offense that Oklahoma City has, where they do run a lot of action, they don't do that in Dallas. The offense is Luka, and we have to play off of him. I think that offense is more conducive in Oklahoma City for SGA's game than it is for anybody else's, and I think he's an MVP candidate, 100%.
You know, it's funny. You just proved me. I just had a bias. I didn't even look at Jokic the same way that you looked at Shai. But with what you just said, to me, that's very impressive because I think Shai has a better, higher ceiling because he's holding back. And as an MVP, you need to be 100% all the time. So when you put it in that type of way, I see your point. But that's the problem with the balance sheet. Like, we don't even express it the way we do. Like, I already thought, hey, Luka, but the way you express it and we have these conversations, thanks. And,
think about this, Bob, real quick. Think about this. Last year, what was the scouting report on Joker? We want him to get 50.
50, yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Average a triple-double the whole season.
And he don't want to do that. No, he want to get these other dudes involved, so that's going to open up the O for him.
Yeah, you're right. I see it. But before I go, Bob, when you play Dell, Ticket, or freaking Shaq, I got a bottle for the winner. Remember, I told you, you and Ticket was supposed to play. I had a blue label for both of y'all. I still got it. Let me know when we doing this so I can bring it to the court.
I'm gonna keep it real with you, Cowboy. I'm only playing Shaq if I have to. I want Dale.
Yo, I want to see. Matter of fact, I want to do 2v2. I want to see you and Ron versus Dell and Shaq, and then the 1-on-1 with you and Dell. I got 2 bottles for the winners.
Cowboy, I'm not lying to you, Cowboy. We've been trying to get this for the past 2 summers.
And you just got a promotion right now. You got an advertisement, a bottle of Blue Label for any one of those 2 matches. I'm just saying, we gonna make this work, bro. I want to see you dunk on freaking Ron. I mean, not Ron. What's his name?
Oh, Dell.
Dell. Yeah, I want to see you dunk on Dell. Don't get me wrong. Dell's nasty. But you know what? It's like that little guy complex for me. It's like, come on, man. I know Dell nasty, but we gotta have my boy get something on him. But thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one. Go New York. Go New York. Go.
Absolutely, Cowboy. Good to talk to you, brother. No doubt.
Right.
Yeah,
man.
Well, how you gonna come up here and the dude who want to smoke with you, you don't address him? How about that? Explain that. The dude who actually called you out, the dude who want to work with you, you don't even talk to him. That's the dude that actually wants you. So, Big Ox, I'm gonna come into the yard. I'm gonna come into the schoolyard, and the dude who called me into the schoolyard, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna get in this dude's face. What? This the dude who actually wants you. This the dude who been talking about you and said that you a sucker. You ain't say nothing to him, no.
Sure, that's because he really know. We've been up here. Shaq already said it. Dale really know, but Dale got too much pride. He can't let nobody else know that he knows. So it's all good. We'll get it together though. We'll get it together for sure. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, let me see. We got Big Fan Breezy in the back. Let me pull up my guy. Breezy, what's going on?
Oh man, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right, cool. What's up, Chill? What's up, guys?
What's going on?
It's hard out here, Breezy. You know it's hard, yo.
I seen you chilling with Leaf. I seen you chilling with the Cowboy, but now you chilling with a villain. Now, let me tell you why I'm the villain. You know what I'm saying? For one, Cam Thomas wasn't in the Rising Star and any of the opportunities that he had. And I debate anybody that he'll be top 5 in his class in scoring and any class behind him. He'll be a top 5 scorer in any class that he's in his draft class and any class behind him. He's going to be in the top 5 of scoring when it comes to that. So I guess I'm the villain because of that. And also, I want the Nets to play well enough to get in the play-in. Yes. Just to face the Knicks in the first round. Yes. And then take the Knicks out of the playoff contention. Yes. This is what I am looking for. And if this is all we do, I'm fine with it. I don't think we're going to win a championship this season. But if we take, even if it's a grueling match to the end, we leave everything on the floor and just go to 7 games in that first round and it gives the Knicks nothing and they take to win it in the second round. That would be great.
So Breezy, what you trying to do is you trying to empty their tank so the next dudes that they see, they got nothing left for them. That's what you're trying to do.
Nothing. And I'm saying all this to say, Sean, I gotta know how you feel about this, just because I feel like with this league, it's a lot of talent, like a match, a lot of talent, and the edge is the competitive edge. I want it more than you. I'm gonna go for that loose ball more than you are.
I'm having a difficult time hearing you, Breezy. Your mic going in now. I'm sorry, Breezy.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, you good now. Your mic is going in and out.
I was saying the talent in the NBA is very high, and the only difference is the competitive edge sometimes. And I want to see Mikal Bridges have that competitive edge. And he was on a podcast with 2 Knicks players, and I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like what he needs to do to get that competitive edge is
Breezy. Yeah. Can you maybe turn your mic down a little bit?
Or too loud now?
It sound like it's popping. That's what I was trying to say. What I mean. Matter of fact,
it's what I'm on. I'm not on my laptop. My fault. I'm gonna just jump in the chat, man. But I'm the villain. I'm the
I am
villain,
too.
man.
I am too, Breezy. You ain't the only one. I be trying to be chilling. That's what the show is, right? Chill with chill. Only except I can't chill. There's plenty of times when I got to turn into the villain, D. Plenty of times when I got to turn into the villain. I know what it is, though. But good to
No
talk to you,
doubt.
Breezy. Good to talk to you, my
Yeah.
dude.
If you happen to get on your laptop or something like that, just jump back on the link, bro.
Yeah, do that.
All right, Breezy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of good talk, a lot of good topics. What I did when we were talking about the All-Star game and whatnot, Chilltown, what I forgot to ask you was two questions. First, let me ask you, who's winning, East or West?
I'm an Eastern Conference dude. I've always been an Eastern Conference dude. I'll always be an Eastern Conference dude. Even when Shaq was out West, I'm an Eastern Conference dude. And yeah, I'm going with the East. The East is winning.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who will get the All-Star MVP, the Kobe Bryant Award?
The Kobe Bryant Award. Well, Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum won it last year. So I don't think we've ever had a guy win the final. I mean, the All-Star Game MVP 2 years in a row. So he's out. Who's gonna win it this year? Giannis. That's who I'm going with. Mm-hmm. Giannis.
Huh. Okay, Giannis. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait for that. Can't wait for that.
Hey, music by P. Listen, the Eastern Conference is not what it was, man. You got to get off that narrative. You got to let that narrative go. The Eastern Conference is weak. It's not. It's you clearly just going off what people telling you, and you're not doing your homework. The Eastern Conference isn't as weak as it used to be. It's not. It's a lot better than what it used to be. Way better now than what it used to be. Much better. You got better teams. Not only do you have better teams, you got better players, more All-Pros in the Eastern Conference, more All-League defenders now. No, the Eastern Conference ain't what it was before, B. It's not. You got to get off that narrative, yo. You have to. I'm sorry, Big Ox, if I interrupted you.
Oh, good. I was wanting to point out too. Rumor has it that Sabrina is going to shoot from the NBA line.
She is. Yes,
Yeah?
she is. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She is. Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, Sabrina. Let's see. I mean, she got the range. We've seen her shoot from there before, but I don't know. It's a little different. It's a little different when you're shooting in the 3-point contest.
Sabrina, that J is cash. Man,
it's so cool.
That J is straight cash. My goodness, man.
Yeah.
That J is cash.
But back to just All-Stars. East is winning. Giannis MVP.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about snubs already. Who is the biggest snub of all time, Chitchat? Not this year. We know DeMontis is the biggest snub this year. But of all time, who is the biggest All-Star snub you have ever seen?
The biggest All-Star snub ever. I mean, it's a bunch of guys that didn't make the All-Star team that should have been an All-Star. DeAndre Jordan was first team All-Pro. He didn't make the All-Star team that year. That's never happened in NBA history, ever. We've never had a first team All-Pro not make the All-Star team, ever. That's never happened. World Be Free in the 78-79 season. I think he averaged 29 a game. Did not make the All-Star team that year. Did not. Those are the two guys that come to mind. I was thinking Sabonis. The guy that I was thinking about the most recent is Sabonis. That I don't ever remember a guy leading the league in triple doubles, leading the league in double doubles, leading the league in rebounding, being on a top five seed in the league when the All-Star voting came out and not make the All-Star team. I'm thinking to myself, when does that ever happen? I don't think that's ever happened in my lifetime. So that's probably the one guy that I'm thinking about as of recent. There have been guys who didn't make the All-Star team, but when I think about Sabonis not making the All-Star team, being as good as he's been, I mean, again, I can't say this enough. Rebounding matters.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they run that offense through Sabonis is the same way that they run that offense through Joker in Cleveland. And for this dude to lead the league in rebounding, lead the league in double doubles, lead the league in triple doubles, how integral he is, everything that an All-Star is, that's Sabonis. Everything.
Mm.
He had a stretch where I told you this, Big Ox. He was 18, 17, and 8. It's almost 20 and 20. How's that not an All-Star? What are we doing? What is happening right now?
I don't know. I can't believe it. But so he's not eligible for this one. But who is the best player to never make it?
the best player that never make the All-Star team. There was a bunch of them, Big Ox, right? I was thinking about this for a while. Like I said, DeAndre Jordan was first team All-Pro, and he didn't make the All-Star team. I came up with 4 guys. Of the four guys that I came up with, Rod Strickland.
Rod
Strickland. We're talking about a guy who I believe it was in 95, 96. I think he went 19-10. That's almost 20-10. And he was a second team All-Pro. He didn't make the All-Star team that year. CJ McCollum. So CJ, like a lot of people, Big Ox, talk about the fact that Damian Lillard didn't have any help up in Portland. I challenge any one of you to tell me a guy that's running in the backcourt with a guy that's 20 a game on the regular. CJ McCullough was 20 a game for 6 straight seasons. That's who Dame was running with. He's how many times he made the All-Star team? 0. Never made the All-Star team. Lamar Odom. I'm surprised Lamar Odom never made the All-Star team. I wonder what the criteria was with him. I think that year in Miami, I think he was 17-10. Miami was a playoff team. He made the Olympic team that year. I was surprised he didn't make the All-Star team. And lastly, Ron Harper. Ron Harper is a guy that I think about. I know that the competition in the East at that time at the guard spot was so serious. It was so serious. And Ron Harper was a perennial 20 a game guy. One of the biggest highlight films in the league. Even after he tore his knee up, he still was awesome. So I understand that of all those guys, I think Rod Strickland may be the biggest snub. I think he might be the best player to not make the All-Star team of all those guys. I think it's Rod Strickland.
Okay. Shout out to Rod. 97 till infinity. He said, "What? What did he say in the chat right there?" He said Kareem. Kareem didn't make it in 78 your time?
Why didn't Kareem make the All-Star team in 78? Did Kareem not make the All-Star team in 78?
That's
and if he did make the All-Star, but Kareem, it doesn't matter with Kareem because he made the All-Star team the year before that. He made the All-Star team the year after that. So Jabbar doesn't have to make the All-Star team every year, because the same way you tell me why didn't Kareem make the All-Star team in 78, which I mean they was in the Western Conference Championship in 77. He made the All-Star team that year, and then he also made it in 79. So I could say the same thing about Lajuan. I mean, why didn't Lajuan make the All-League Defensive Team in 89? If you go look at what Lajuan did in 1989, that's probably the biggest snub All-League defender that I've ever seen. Lajuan had almost 300 steals and 300 blocks that year. Finished in the top. He finished right outside the top 5 in steals that year. I think he led the league, or he was in the top 5 in blocks. I think he led the league in rebounding that year. He didn't make the All-League Defensive Team. That was crazy. But Jabbar, I don't think Jabbar works because he made the All-Star team the year before that. He made the All-Star team after that. So
he doesn't work as far as like the best to never make it, but as one of the biggest, as one of the biggest snubs though for Kareem to not make it in 78. And in 78, what is he, 30, 31?
In the 79-80 season he turns 32. So he turns 32. So he was 31 in 78. And if you think about what was going on in 78, he was. I guess they were so used to him making it, and they lost that year in the playoffs to Seattle. And Seattle won the NBA championship that year. Seattle. No, they lost to Seattle in 79, and they was in the championship the year before that. So, who made the All-Star team? I got to go look that up. Who made the All-Star team over Jabbar in 78? Let me go find that out. Who made the All-Star team over him? Maurice Lucas, Bob Lanier, are the guys who made it over him.
Let's in the meantime, it looks like Brizzy got his mic together. Let me pull the guy up real quick. Brizzy, you good?
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yep, you hot now, Breezy.
I was listening to the conversation, man. What about Sharif? No, my bad. Muhammad. I mean,
Sharif Abdul.
No,
AKA, you talking about Chris Jackson, AKA Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. Yeah. Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
You think he could have made the All-Star game?
I think he could have, but I think that the way that they played him, I think he got blackballed because, I mean, his game. I mean, I think the All-Star team, especially if you're talking about rotation guys, is definitely about production. And they had times where, you know, he was starting and he was averaging like 18, 19 a game, and then they would pull him out the lineup. So they would do stuff like that. I know that's super corny, but I know that's super corny, but that's what was going on with him. But I definitely think he was an All-Star caliber player. 100% he was. 100% he was.
Mm-hmm. The other stuff, did y'all hear what I was saying about being a villain did y'all hear me?
Yes, I did hear you about you being the villain. It's hard out here. It's hard out here, Breezy. Especially when you chilling, trying not to be the villain. It's hard to do that, B. It is hard.
Now, I really do think that. And again, I think I'm kind of like a homer, kind of like Ox is with Keegan Murray, just kind of it being the draft pick and all. But I really feel like I could stand on him being the best top 5 scorer in his draft class. And after his draft class, he will remain a top 5 scorer in his draft class and in the draft class after him. He's 22 years old. No, I'm listening.
I just feel like with him, I feel like the way that they're using him, it's almost a tease, Breezy. Like he should be playing. He should be a huge part of what y'all doing in Brooklyn. Like it shouldn't be a question. Like he shouldn't be in and out of the lineup. He shouldn't be playing sparingly. He should be on the floor for 35 minutes a night.
Facts. To add to your points, Chill, they making it like a 1-2 punch for him in between bridges, but there's a gap because, in my opinion, scoring-wise, he carries because he became a 3-level scorer. And from last season to this season, they asked him to be learn how to catch and shoot, and he did. Mm-hmm. His catch and shoot percentage went way up. And I'm saying that to say that other people could create with him just waiting for the ball, and he's dangerous. Like he don't have to get to the midi or to the paint to score. And to add to that, just talking basketball with you, I think that the pick and roll between Shooter and Clax and Cam Thomas and Clax running the pick and roll, those should be the main 1 and 2 offenses for us to go forward. And this is the reason why I think that we could make the 8th seed if we could do that. If we could run those 2 offenses instead of trying to find a 3 ball as the first option and use some more of the shot clock. So, you know, I'm again, like, I don't know where else to go to have these type of conversations. So in your opinion, Chill, how much time do you want to see a team get into their first, second basketball actions, like before they get into their first shot? I know I don't want to see a team use 22 seconds on the shot clock. I want to see them get up their first, second shot, maybe, I don't know, 12, 14 seconds on the shot clock. I figured we should be able to look for a good shot in the first, I don't know, 15 seconds. You know what I'm saying? What about you? How you feel?
I don't like when when the shot clock is running down. Now you're rushing. Don't get me wrong. I think teams prepare for that, you know, when the shot clock is running down. But for the most part, I feel like when you are in your set at 14 seconds, because it doesn't take long to get in your set and run something, right? If you're taking long to run something, that means that you're at a source. It doesn't take long to get in your sets and run something. When it's 15 seconds, you get the ball over half court within 16 seconds. By 12 seconds, we should be in our set. By 8 seconds, we should be getting something. Not by 3 or 2 seconds. By 8 seconds, we should be getting something good. Whether it's a drive to the basket, whether it's a wide open look, it should be something good. As opposed to, you know, we're holding the ball and we kind of look out of order. We look disoriented. That's because we're taking too long. Because the sets that Brooklyn runs where they get Cam Thomas coming off screen, especially on the right side, because I think that's where he operates the best. He operates the best on the right side, going to his left. He's a real good pull-up shooter. 100% he is. And I think when they get him the ball, they'll probably get him the ball. Not probably, I'm sorry. They get him the ball like around 11, 12 seconds in the shot clock, and then he'll get something quick. But it's a good shot, though. It's not like he's forcing something. When they get in trouble is when the offense gets disrupted, and now you got to hurry up. Where now you're getting Cam the ball where 6 seconds on the shot clock, and now you got to hurry up, and that's where the bad shots come in.
Yeah, I agree. Just to leave off, and can you just explain to the audience what a grenade is? You know, because that's what they said a grenade is. When you get the ball with like 5 seconds on the clock, on the shot clock, that's considered a grenade, and you're not necessarily going to get a high percentage shot because now you got to just put it up.
Right. I call that, people call that a grenade. I call it a hot potato. Like you got to get rid of it. That's what I call it. Like a hot potato where it's 4 seconds. Our offense got disrupted, whether it was a block shot, whether a guy fumbled the ball, and it looks bad on the offense. It makes our offense look like we're not running anything good. When in reality, you are running something good. You just got to be more efficient.
Well, thank you, Chad. I love talking basketball with y'all, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, real quick though, Breezy. That's what I've been trying to say for the past 2 seasons. Grenades. Luka is passing out grenades.
Okay. Luka caught us up.
That's Luka's best asset. It's just
6 seconds
throwing grenades.
I'm 4 seconds on the shot clock.
So you saying he holding
Breezy,
the ball?
Breezy, I'm talking about the Luka's throwing grenades, bro.
Yeah. Oh man. All right,
Breezy.
All right, child. Later.
It is one of those things, Big Ox, and I didn't even think about it like that. Where Tim Hardaway Jr. will get the ball, where Luka's pounding it and pounding the basketball, and he finally gets off of it, and it's 4 seconds on the shot clock, and a guy closes out on him, and I got to hurry up and get something off. In the process of me getting something off, it looks like a bad shot. Well, I probably would get something better if you set me up better.
Right.
If you set me up a little bit better, when you got a guy like Tim Hardaway, right? When you got, I'm glad you brought that up, Big Ox, because the first person I thought about when you brought that up was Kyle Korver. When they were playing, when he was in Cleveland, I'm watching them play, and he's running pick and pop. He's running pick and pop, and he's running pick and roll. I'm thinking to myself, okay, who is Kyle Korver? He's a shooter. What do you do with shooters when they come on the floor? You run something for them. You don't put them in pick and pop action. No, you don't do that. So a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr., if he's a shooter, when he comes in the game, you don't, in your words, give him a grenade. Run something for him. Get him in some action where he can get a good shot. Don't have the basketball in his hands 4 seconds, and it's 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Don't do that.
In this pick and pop scenario, that's what you're talking about with Kyle Korver. Is he the guy setting the pick and popping, or does he have the ball?
No, both. He's setting the pick and popping. I'm like, that's not his game. That's not who Kyle Korver is. Kyle Korver is a guy who comes off. He comes off down screens. He comes off fades and things like that. Kyle Korver is not a pick and pop guy. You don't run stuff for him like that. No. You run that for the big. You run that for Joker, right? You run that for Aaron Gordon. You don't run that for Kyle Korver.
Right. And that's all. That's the only reason I'll be saying like about Luka. Like it's always, oh, look at his vision. He has elite vision. It's like, okay, yeah, he can see the floor. I'll give him that. He can see the floor. But why with all this elite vision is it that he's always passing grenades?
Get off the pill, yo. Get off the pill.
If your vision's that good, you could have made that pass 5-6 seconds ago.
Get off the pill, Luka.
Please, Luka, stop dribbling the ball. Pass the rock. But not just pass the rock early and then move without the ball.
Yes. He's just passing the ball and just standing there. Okay, that's not helping me, Luke. Get off the pill, B. Get off the pill.
Right. Well, so let's talk about some post All-Star game action. Like, what do we expect in post All-Star game, team wise and individually wise? Let's start individual. Let's start individually.
Well,
post All-Star, who's gonna make that biggest push?
Honestly, Ox, if you've heard me say this in the past, the third stretch of the season, those last 28 games, that's when teams are getting healthy. That's when teams have figured out rotations. That's when their offense is clicking a little bit more. That's when guys have turned up their defense. The one team that I'm thinking about more than any team, because I love what they're doing in Minnesota. I love what they're doing in Cleveland. But the one team that I'm thinking about the most is the Knicks. OG Anunoby, he had a procedure on his elbow, so he'll be back after the All-Star break. This was a couple of weeks ago. Julius Randle, they're going to get him back this stretch where the All-Star break. Hartenstein, he's going to be healthy. I think that this Knicks team, they're going to be healthy coming into this third stretch. And I think that they're going to be trouble. They're going to be big time trouble because this stretch of the season, when the guys are healthy, when teams are figuring out rotations, in addition to teams figuring out rotations, guys getting their rhythm, I think the Knicks are going to be a problem. Minnesota is a team that I keep hearing everybody tell me that, their half-court offense is bad. Their half-court offense is bad. I can't reiterate this to you guys enough. 6 of their last 10 games, they've gone into the fourth quarter with a double-digit lead. They can score on anybody. They don't have a problem scoring. And the one thing that they do consistently better than anybody else is they defend. They defend at a high level. That's not their problem. Their problem is that they have a third-year shooting guard who can be inconsistent. And then they have a number 2 in Cat who sometimes disappears. That's the problem. They get damn good action off the basketball. If you watch their offense, they get good action off the basketball. They get good action in isolation. One of the plays that they run that I think is one of the best plays that they run a play where they got Ant on the right block. He pops to the right wing. They get him the basketball. Here comes Rudy to set a screen. Rudy doesn't set the screen. He slips the screen and dives to the basket, which leaves Ant one-on-one with whoever he needs to go one-on-one with. And he's in the mid-range. In the process of him being in the mid-range, or he'll be at the bucket, that's where they're getting good shots. That's not their problem. Their problem is those guys finishing games. It has nothing to do with their offense because they can get buckets, they score, and they score in bunches up until the fourth quarter. They need to get more. They don't need to get any more action. They need to convert more. That's all that is because they do it in the first 3 quarters.
Okay. So as far as like individuals, let's start with the young fellas. Let's start with the rookies. Post All-Star, let's say, let's talk about these guys. Let's talk about Chet, Wemby, B. Miller, and Jaime Jaquez. If I'm missing any rookies that you think could be in the conversation, let me know. Y'all too, Chat.
Pods in Golden State. Pods in Golden State.
Okay.
Pods in Golden State. Sure.
I'm pretty sure that the Rookie of the Year is kind of wrapped up between Chet and Wemby. But do you see any of these other guys making a late season push for that award?
Jaime Jaquez. I do think Jaime Jaquez is he's back in the lineup. He's healthy. I think he's gonna make a late season push. The Miami Heat look for him, and they look for him tremendously to score the basketball, to get out in transition. I've said this to you in the past, Big Ox. He is the epitome of what a Miami Heat player is. You see guys in the league. You see guys in the league that you look at and go, "Yo, this guy can play." But Jaime Jaquez looks like a Miami Heat. He's great in transition, tough, hard-nosed. You actually told me about him months ago, and I kind of scoffed at it. Not necessarily like he was whack, but he was a middle round pick. And I'm thinking to myself, should I be paying attention to this guy? And then when he started balling, I was like, Ox told me about this dude months ago. I should have been paying more attention to him. So I think he's a guy that we need to pay attention to in terms of the Rookie of the Year. Now, the guy that I think is going to be integral in postseason, the second half of the season, including postseason, is Chet. I think it's Chet off the strength that this team is young. And in addition to this team being young, he gives them the one thing that they didn't have last year. That stretch 5, that guy who can stretch the defense, that guy who can rebound, that guy who's in the interior protecting the rim. He's going to be big for what they're trying to do. Him, but the guy that I'm looking, you just talked about the rookies. I think that Wemby is going to be the Rookie of the Year, no doubt about that. But I've said in the past, we talked about the Golden State Warriors being the Titanic. I've said in the past, when you have older guys, the natural process is you replace the older guys with young guys. And Pods, Kuminga, Jackson, these are the young guys that are phasing out Draymond, Curry, Klay Thompson, guys, because it's time to move on from them because you got new guys, Moody, you got new guys like that, and it's time to implement these guys more. Well, Steve Kerr benched Klay Thompson, and now he's added Pods to the roster, added Pods to the rotation, and I think he's going to be big for them too because he also exemplifies what the Golden State Warriors are: shooting the long ball, right, getting out in transition. He's a perfect fit for them, no doubt about that.
And also with his poise and mannerisms too. You can see that he's locked in.
Well, you said it yourself, Big Ox. When you talked about when you brought up Jaime Jaquez to me, I thought of a pro. That's what Jaime Jaquez looked like. He looked like a pro. Right. Well, I could say the same thing with Pods. He fits perfect with this group. He looks like a pro. He looks like a guy that's a professional, and he works exactly with that group. I don't know if he would be the same if he was in like Washington or Toronto or somewhere like that. I don't think it would be the same. I think he works perfectly for that group. But in terms of individual, the rookies, that's who I'm seeing right now. Now, to answer your question about the other guys, the guy that I'm looking forward to seeing in the postseason the most is Shea. He's the guy that I'm looking forward to seeing the most in the postseason. I think Jason Tatum's going to be better. I think Donovan Mitchell's going to be better. I know who James is, Anthony Davis. The guy that I am looking forward to seeing this postseason, most people would say Ant because Ant is on his way, but it's Shea because most people that I've heard, Shea has made the biggest jump. People talking about Shea being a top 5 player. Well, if he's a top 5 player, he's got to play like that this postseason. He's got to play like that this postseason. It can't just be we get to the postseason and he's just good. He either has to maintain what he's doing right now or raise that. So that's the guy that I'm looking forward to the most this postseason.
Right. Yeah, I would love to see Chet go on a crazy run. Like that's just good. That stuff is good for basketball. You know, like obviously as you know, I'm a Kings guy, but I'm a basketball fan first and foremost. So I want to see good basketball, and I want to see an exciting playoff run from somebody, whether it's Ant, Shea, De'Aaron, Tyrese Halliburton. I don't care. I just need somebody to ball out. That's what I need.
Well, ain't that big odds? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep going.
No. Go ahead. I was about to go back a step.
Because isn't that how we find stars, big odds? Like, so you just mentioned like Chet, you just mentioned SGA, you just mentioned Ant. This is where we find stars. So when you see them in the regular season and how good they are, and then in the postseason, they raise that play. Okay, this guy's on his way to being something special. So to your point, when I see SGA doing more work in the postseason, okay, he on his way. Y'all got to do a better job building this unit around him because you clearly have a star here. Ant is on his way. You saw what he did last year in the playoffs. I saw the other stuff that he did in the play-in game against the Lakers, where he wasn't scoring, but he did the other stuff. Okay, this guy's a star. Now you just got to build the other stuff around him in order to make sure that he has a chance. So I can definitely get with that logic. 100% I can.
I do want to say something about the Warriors, though. We might want to halt on Draymond. Draymond's still playing ball. You know, like there was a lot, you know, with the older guys moving out, new guys moving in. I think Draymond could re-sign that lease. You know, he can stick around for a little bit. I think he's been very impactful when he came since he's been back. He's gonna bring that energy. For instance, against the Suns, I love the rah-rah. I do. I love it. Sometimes Draymond's a little petty with it, and it really irks my nerves a little bit. But I knew one thing about that game from the jump, that Draymond was going to make sure they were ready. Draymond was not going to – I'm not saying that Draymond wasn't going to let them lose that game, but he was not going to let them go out. You know what I'm saying? Draymond is going to bring that energy. He's going to make sure that everybody knows what he expects from them. And I think it's a direct correlation from how they're playing to Draymond's back. When Draymond's back in town, it's a different show. It's a different show when Draymond's around Chilltown. And me being a Warrior hater, a hold Draymond to a level that people don't. I say what I say about Draymond, but the guy has an effect on that team. When we can't deny it, we cannot ignore it.
No, we can't. And Steph Curry isn't Steph Curry without Dre. He isn't. He's not. He's not as good as he is. He's not. And the rest of those guys aren't either. But, and this is a bit of a personal experience, what I equate Draymond to is I equate Draymond. He's the functioning alcoholic in the family. The bills get paid. Right. The bills get paid. In addition to the bills getting paid, there's food on the table. The lights are still on. We still living. But every once in a while you come home, the table's flipped over. There's furniture all over the place. Right. Windows are broken. You're like, what the heck?
Holes in the walls.
Holes in the walls. And you're like, damn, it's him again. You know what it is, but you deal with it because of the other stuff. Right. You deal with it because of the other stuff. That's what I equate Draymond to.
Draymond, Chilltown, I don't think I've ever heard a more perfect analogy. Draymond is that functioning alcoholic that has a lot of responsibilities in this household.
That's what he does.
That is it. That is perfect. What about other things like the defensive player of the year? As of now, we both got Rudy, right?
Yes, we do.
Can Rudy hold on to that award, or can Anthony Davis come take it from him? Is there anybody out there that in these next 28 games can steal that Defensive Player of the Year award from Rudy Gobert?
One of the things that's been consistent in the NBA over the course of like the last 10, 15 years, more times than not, the Defensive Player of the Year is the best defensive player on the best defensive team. That's more than likely who it's going to be. So a guy like Rudy, who is integral in what they're doing in Minnesota, his paint presence, his ability to recover when he gets beat. I want you guys to pay more attention to Rudy on the perimeter. I want you to get off of what you saw when they played the Clippers, that quote unquote 5 out. You can't do that anymore with him. Not only can you not do that anymore with him, you can't do that anymore with him even in shorter perimeter areas, like 16 to 18 feet, in addition to dragging him further away from the basket. Because what they do now is they just switch him onto your weakest shooter. That's all they do. And now he can come out and recover. So in addition to him doing that, plus you got guys like Jaden McDaniels and Anthony Edwards, he makes those guys even better defensively. His ability to rebound, his ability to rim protect, his ability to paint, his ability to be a presence in the paint. You see how many of these guys, when I'm watching them, how many of these guys, Big Ox, that he turns away, that they won't come to the basket because he's there. That's huge for the defense. So a guy like Rudy Gobert, the best defensive player on the best defensive team, history has shown me, more than likely he's going to be it, which is going to now bode the question. Where does Rudy Gobert, where does he rank amongst the all-time great defenders? Because that'll be 4 in 7 years. If he wins the defensive player of the year.
Top 10, Showtime.
Because
he's got to be top 10.
If I think about the best defensive players ever, I think Hakeem Olajuwon is the best defensive player in NBA history.
As do I.
I think Dennis Rodman is right next to him. Bill Russell, Tim Duncan, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, David Robinson, Dwight Howard, Ben Wallace, Sidney Moncrief,
Gary Payton.
Gary Payton. These are the guys that I'm thinking about off the top of my head. Where does Rudy Gobert, a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in 7 years, where does he rank amongst all time? I think that because he's improved also. He's improved on his ability to close out. He's improved on his ability to guard on the perimeter. He's not just a rim protector like he was. He's not just a rim protector like he was in the past. So when I think about him being a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, now don't get me wrong, Big Ox. You know, Tim Duncan never won Defensive Player of the Year, but he constantly played and it's crazy that he did that. That's because he was dealing with KG. I mean, Kevin. Right. That's because he was dealing with Kevin Garnett and Ben Wallace. So that doesn't mean that Tim Duncan and Scottie Pippen also never won Defensive Player of the Year. That doesn't mean that those guys didn't play at that level. I want to make sure that I preference winning accolades matters, but it doesn't mean that the other guys who didn't win it, who were playing at that level, are less than. They're right there with those guys. So a guy like Tim Duncan, was Rudy Gobert a better defender than Tim Duncan? That to win the Defensive Player of the Year 4 times. Was Rudy Gobert a better defender than Scottie Pippen? Like I would say, I would, even though he won the Defensive Player of the Year 4 times, I would say no. I would 100% say no, because I'm thinking about who those guys had to deal with and who he had to deal with. That's who I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Scottie Pippen losing out on Defensive Player of the Year. He's coming in second to Dennis Rodman, right? He's coming in third to Dennis Rodman and David Robinson. These are the guys that he's dealing with. Rudy, on the other hand, he's battling Hassan Whiteside and Kawhi Leonard. Let's see, Draymond Green. These are the guys that he's battling for Defensive Player of the Year. So when I think about when I think about Rudy Gobert as an all-time great defender, is he top 15 all time? Maybe. Yeah.
He would have to be in there. He would have to be.
Yeah.
Definitely. Stockton, Willis, Reed, Wes Unseld. Okay. Yeah. So that's dope. What I wanted to ask you, Jared Allen. Is he gonna have any action at a Defensive Player of the Year in his career?
I think this
he moves his feet.
Oh man,
exceptionally well.
I love Jared Allen.
His recovery is
Yeah.
crazy.
I love Jared Allen as a defender. Jared Allen is one of those guys that, very much like we talked about with Scottie Pippen being the defensive player of the year, I think he's one of those guys that got caught up in the era of great defensive bigs like AD, Rudy Gobert, guys like that, Bam, where he kind of got overlooked. So unfortunately, he may be on the outside looking in, but he's a fantastic defender, fantastic rim protector, fantastic rebounder. So it's not that he doesn't have a chance, because he's definitely in the conversation, Big Ox. 100% he is. But with that being said, I think he's going to be on the outside looking in. I do.
Yeah, I think so. So. Well, unfortunately, y'all, we have reached that hour and 30-minute mark. It's time to shut down. But y'all make sure to check out the dunk contest, 3-point shooting contest, skills challenge, Sabrina versus Steph. I believe that's all today. It's gonna be a great night, man. Y'all make sure order some wings, man. Get something to drink. Y'all sit down, enjoy your family, enjoy the time, and enjoy All-Star break. And you know, we'll be back to it. I don't know. I'm not sure. Is anybody streaming the playback on these tonight? Do you know, Chitchat?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, somebody is doing the skills challenge. I don't know who it is, but I know for a fact somebody is doing it.
Dub and Damo.
Okay, Dub and Damo doing it tonight.
Dub and Damo, yeah.
I knew somebody was doing it tonight. All right.
Y'all go check out Dub and Damo. That's gonna be great. See, Dub and Damo better not be biased on this Sabrina versus Steph 3-point shooting contest. That's all I know. Matter of fact, y'all get in that chat and hold those two fellas accountable. But other than that, those two guys are gonna be full of energy. It's gonna be a great time, man. Y'all check out that playback. Dub and Damo tonight, holding down the All-Star Game festivities.
Yes, sir.
Chilltown.
Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Call your mother. She's looking for you, man. Call your mother. And if you need a ride and you're in the area, my man right here said he got you. Pick the phone up.
Never drink and drive, y'all. Never drink and drive. Call a cab, call an Uber, call a Lyft, man. Take care of yourself.
He'll come scoop you. He already made it.
For sure, no doubt. Love yourself. We'll check y'all out on Monday.
Take it light, but take it.